This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us here today for this edition of USVI News. I'm Brissa Bradfield. Emily Matson has the day off. Well, our top story check today, Brittany Griner is officially back on U.S. soil. A plane carrying the WNBA star landed at Kelly Field in Texas early Friday morning. Griner was arrested in February on the eve of Russia's invasion of Ukraine after customs officials found 2 vape cartridges containing cannabis oil in her luggage. She was released Thursday as part of a prisoner swap for convicted Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout. Bout is a former Soviet military officer who has been serving a sentence in the U.S. on numerous charges, including conspiring to kill Americans. Paul Whelan, another American the U.S. State Department says is being wrongfully detained in Moscow, Russia, was not included in the prisoner swap. Well, meantime, back in June, 8,000 people packed Magens Bay on St. Thomas for the annual King of the Wing competition. It was the biggest one yet, and that's great news for the Virgin Islands Children's Museum, which benefited from this year's event. They raised more than $100,000. Alpine Securities hosted it and they say it couldn't have happened without all of the great sponsors. We caught up with the company's director of philanthropy and community relations after this week's check presentation.
This was a major milestone. It was really just great to be able to offer this much support to an agency that needs it. You know, it's a drop in the bucket. We hate to say it, but even the $100,000 is a drop in the bucket. They need upwards of $500,000 every year to function. So this was just our ability to help, and I'm glad that we were able to help and assist, and I'm glad that we were able to shine a light on an organization that needs even more help, because we cannot do everything, and they can't do everything by themselves. So it's really a big deal to have all these community members, participants, sponsors, attendees, all these people that came out and supported the event that then led to us raising this money. I mean, it's not just Alpine Securities and White Bay Group and tourism. It's the whole community came out and made it obvious that, yes, we care about our kids. We, as organizers and the main sponsors, couldn't be more elated that we were able to help as many local families just have another opportunity to have enjoyment and have fun. After the COVID-19, there weren't that many outward opportunities for people to have a good time with their families. So this was really a huge benefit, and really just like gorgeous to watch. So many people just excited to be outside their house and with their families and their friends and their coworkers. And I mean, we really we were blessed to have the opportunity to offer that to the public.
And next year's King of the Wing competition and celebration will also benefit the Virgin Islands Children's Museum. Well, meantime, it's that time of year again. Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and Christmas all happening over the next few weeks. Now, no matter which holiday you celebrate, the time can be stressful. So USVI News' Emily Matson has more from a licensed therapist on how you can manage stress this holiday season.
It's a season of joy, but holidays can also bring stress.
Whether you're someone who loves the holidays, you dread them, or you're somewhere in between, I think we can all agree that it does bring up a lot of different feelings.
Licensed therapist Jody Baumstein says you can manage holiday stress by tuning in and acknowledging how you feel.
We know that stress will find its way out. So we want to stop and really slow down and pay attention to what we feel, and also notice that there might be shame or judgment attached to it, and we want to get rid of that.
Baumstein says if certain holiday traditions are causing added stress, change them or ditch them altogether. This season, give yourself permission to set realistic expectations. She says setting boundaries is also critical in helping to manage stress.
For you, that might mean that you say no to certain activities. Maybe you and your family have a certain limit, and when you reach that, you don't take on any other things.
Being mindful can help ease anxiety. Baumstein says to use healthy coping skills, slow your breathing, and use your senses to bring you into the present moment. It's also important to appreciate all the good in your life.
We know that when we practice gratitude, it improves our psychological well-being, it improves our overall health, both mental and physical health.
Emily Matson reporting.
Now, the therapist says it's also okay to accept help from other people, especially if you are the only one hosting family gatherings. Although others can pitch in, be sure to ask someone for some help to take that burden off of you. Well, switching gears now, on St. Croix this Saturday, there will be a huge produce distribution for UHC-covered GVI retirees. United Healthcare Wellness Program has teamed up with Rogers Farm for the 2022 Wellness Program for GVI retirees. Bags of fresh produce will be distributed on a first-come, first-served basis while supplies last. There will also be 500 bags available for the giveaway. It's set for Saturday, December 10th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the St. Croix Educational Complex. St. Croix retirees enrolled with United Healthcare Plan have to bring their valid member ID card to get a produce bag. Well, switching gears now to the latest out of the airline industry. Airlines have been downsizing their seats for years, which has led to the FAA to set new standards to ensure passengers can evacuate a plane in less than 90 seconds. But that testing, has been widely criticized for not taking people with disabilities into account. And now a U.S. Senator is looking to make changes. Chris Van Cleve reports.
In a simulated cabin that can be filled with smoke and plunged into darkness, the FAA tested the safe size of airline seats and how passengers can get out in 90 seconds or less. While the volunteer passengers in the simulated evacuations had varying seat sizes, they did not have to deal with real-life obstacles like smoke, the dark, or even luggage. And they were in groups of 60, nowhere near a full plane load. In 2019, the FAA explained,
we're going to try to minimize the variables to the ones that are important for this particular test.
Airplane seat width is already down as much as 4 inches over the last 30 years to as little as 16 inches wide. And seat pitch, the distance between rows, has shrunk from about 35 inches to 31, and in some cases as little as 28 inches, allowing airlines to add more seats. The FAA found seat size and spacing did not adversely affect the success of emergency evacuations. But because all participants were able-bodied adults under 60, then FAA Administrator Steve Dixon acknowledged the results are useful but not necessarily definitive. Miracle on the Hudson pilot, Captain Sully Sullenberger.
On our flight, it took over 3 minutes to evacuate everyone, partly because the airplane was filling up rapidly with water from back to front, but also because it was real life and we had a full aircraft.
6 Democratic senators recently urged the FAA to reconsider its findings, saying not accurately reflecting the flying public is one of its most glaring flaws.
Do you think you could get off an airplane in 90 seconds?
Not in the normal conditions that I normally travel in.
Senator Tammy Duckworth, who lost both legs while serving in Iraq, is now proposing legislation requiring a new FAA seat size study looking at how real-life conditions, including children, seniors, and the disabled, as well as the presence of carry-on bags, impacts evacuation times.
When you're testing with not real-world conditions, then that gets me worried. Airlines are traveling now with just about every seat filled. You can't just practice evacuating an aircraft that is only 30% full, because that's not the way commercial aviation looks today.
The FAA says it is going through more than 26,000 public comments about airline seats, but it followed guidelines and its testing laid out by Congress. The airlines say safety is their top priority, and they will continue to work with the FAA.